Hey audio people, welcome back to the channel. MrAyrit here. Got a pretty interesting headphone for you today. This is one that I had my eye on a while back, and they just always were kind of out of reach for me price wise. But I recently came across a good trade deal on one. So today we've got the DCA Ether 2s. Now these were recommended to me a while back when I had my Odyssey LCD 2 pre-phasers that I really love those headphones. I kind of wish I would have kept them, honestly. But anyway, these were recommended as possibly like a similar headphone with a similar sound signature, except much more comfortable and lighter weight. I agree with some of that, some of it I don't. So we're gonna dig into this guy today, and we'll look at like kind of the accessories. I'm not sure exactly what they come with standard. I don't even know if you can buy them still anymore new. But it used to be at least, you know, somewhere around like a $1,500 headphone. I think $1,200 is a pretty typical market value for them now, although maybe you could pick them up for even a little bit cheaper at this point in time, depending on what they come with and all that stuff, right? So we're gonna look at this guy. It has some phenomenal qualities, but ultimately I think I'm gonna move it down the road, and we'll talk about that too. So let's dig into what it comes with here first. So mine came with several accessories that I really enjoy. Number one, I think all of the DCA Mr. Speaker stuff come with these kind of cases. You know, they're like semi-hard cases. They're very nice. The headphones fit well in them. You know, it's compact. It's a nice little. It's not like so big that I wouldn't use it if I traveled a lot or something like that and wanted to bring headphones with me. I don't really have a need to do that, but just the cases are pretty nice for that, right? The cable, I also think is quite nice. Now, again, I don't know if this is a stock cable or what kind of cable it is exactly. This is just the one that came with it for me, which again, I traded for it, so I don't know. It's got those DCA kind of proprietary connectors, which I actually have grown to really love over the course of using this headphone. And I've got an Ether CX right now too. But these guys, you can just see how simple they are to get them in there, and they just snap on, and then they're very secure, and then they just boom, just right off. I don't know. I hate proprietary connections, but at the same time, I've just kind of really enjoyed using these. Again, though, it's one of those things. It's like once you kind of get a cable that you're sticking with, you don't have to mess with it that much. But just I like these connectors though. Now that I've used them a little bit, of course, this one's an XLR. I've been using like an XLR to 1/4 inch adapter because I'm mainly using single-ended amps at this point in time. The material is like a nice soft cloth. It's very thick, not microphonic at all. So this cable is really nice. Although I will note that there was an aftermarket cable that I got with it, or I assume it's aftermarket, and it had a more plasticky feel to it, and it was for a balanced 2.5 one. And I don't know what brand that cable was or anything, but that thing was super microphonic, like unusable almost. So just be leery, I guess, when you're buying cables. Make sure you're getting a decent one with these headphones, or if you're buying an aftermarket one. Okay, moving on. In addition to the case and the cable, mine actually came with 4 sets of pads, actually, believe it or not. So I'm going to get those different sets out, and we'll talk about them. And then we'll talk about mainly the ones that I used. So give me a moment. Okay, so the first thing to talk about here is just how the pads even go on, which is like stickers, basically. And then it did come with like a little brush here that talks about how to get them on and how you can situate them and things like that. So it's not my favorite system in the world. It's been okay. I think especially since mine have been used, they haven't been super sticky, but honestly, once you kind of get the ones on there that you want, you don't have to mess around with them a whole heck of a lot. So my favorite ones were these thinnest, I think they're a pleather pad, and these just gave the most linear frequency response. They gave the most, I thought, detail in them, and you know, it just had the more natural sound to them. Whereas I thought some of these other pads, they so I've got a couple of different types of pleather pads here. Again, they're different thicknesses and slightly different materials and things like that. I didn't like these other pleather pads, and then I came with a set of like velour pads as well, which is what the previous owner used on them. And you can see those have like probably the most signs of use, but I didn't particularly like these. I thought I lost a lot of detail and clarity with these. So ultimately, these kind of thinner, softer pleather ones were the ones that I thought were super comfortable, but also just offered the best sounds. So when I'm talking about sound, I'm really talking about sound with these pads, and just understand that they are kind of tunable, but really these pads kind of make it darker and just less linear. So I didn't like that very much. So really what we want to get into talking about now is build, and this is by far the best quality of this headphone. I mean, and that's not to say that it's like a terrible headphone in other categories, but just the design and build of this thing is, I don't know, it's flagship level, I would say. Everything is metal. It's just simple, clean design, and it's incredibly lightweight. So these guys only weigh about 300 grams. I mean, they're so comfy. The most comfortable headphone I've ever worn, hands down. Like it's that cut and dry for me. I think these are phenomenally designed headphones. The materials all feel great. They look premium but understated. They don't look huge and crazy on your head. You know, you've got a nice thin little suspension strap there, spring metal. You know, you can adjust the band about infinitely, honestly, as far as just getting the right fit on your head. So I just love the comfort of these things. All day comfort for sure with these headphones. And really, when we start talking about sound, it's going to be all day sound as well. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But just phenomenal build, phenomenal design. Gosh, I love them for that. I wish the sound was just a little bit different, which then I'd probably just be keeping them. But let's go ahead and talk about sound, all right? So these guys, I find them to be very detailed, excellent separation, really good imaging, and they're very smooth and fast. And that's probably, that can be a good thing, but I think just with the equipment that I'm using, which I mean, I've tried them on several different things, but I'm pretty much mainly using my Quicksilver transformer coupled tube amp, or my Eddy Current ZDT transformer coupled tube amp. And those combined with the Cayin RU6, which is feeding both of those, they just are a little bit too smoothed over. They don't have quite enough bite for me to really engage me into the music quickly. Now, what I would say for that is, depending on your genre of music, and if you're willing to EQ and your other gear, you may be able to get these where you want them to be, or maybe you want them to be that kind of smooth and laid back and chill. So if you're looking for like a really smooth, unintrusive headphone that you can wear all day at work, and you can use an open back headphone, these definitely might fit the bill. Here's the thing that I found with them, though, is that I never really enjoyed them a whole lot with acoustic music. And I listen to a lot of folk acoustic music, and I just don't think they've got enough kind of top-end sizzle and detail to really bring that music to life. Certainly, I've been using the Klipsch HP3 a lot lately, and I'm just loving that headphone, and that headphone like instantly gets me into music, and I'm just like vibing on every single genre of music, and especially like acoustic and live music I think sounds really good on that headphone. These guys just don't excel in that area. However, I found that if I wanted to listen to more like popular music, electronic music, just things that have a little more bass to them, and maybe already have a little more sparkle and excitement at the top end, then I really appreciated the tuning of this headphone, and thought with that type of music, I was still getting enough detail. I was getting absorbed into it, although it does take me a couple of tracks to kind of settle into the sound of these and really dive into it. But once I've acclimated to them, I really enjoyed them, and that's why I feel like if you like kind of pop, EDM, hip hop, that type of stuff, and you're looking for something that you can wear for long periods of time that's gonna not fatigue you in both weight or in sound qualities, then these could definitely be like an end game headphone for that. And like I said, the design of this is phenomenal. The tuning isn't quite there for me, but I think technically they're worth the price. I think they're all of $1,000 headphone for sure when you consider build and sound and all that. Phenomenal headphone in a lot of ways, but just for my genre of music and my other equipment that I use, they don't quite bring it home for me most of the time, but I could definitely see other people feeling differently about that. Okay, so man, I just love the build of DCA stuff, the design of DCA stuff. They just do such a phenomenal job with that. The drivers always seem really capable to me. Just sometimes the tuning doesn't quite jam with me, which is unfortunate because I am really a big fan of like the build and design of his headphones. So these are no exception to that. What about you? I haven't seen a ton of reviews on these. Like, it doesn't seem like they were a very popular headphone. Have you tried them? Are you interested in trying them? If you tried them, certainly drop those opinions and your experience with them down below. And, if you found this useful, consider liking. And then definitely if you want more headphone related content, subscribe and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.